Good morning, Dave the Sign Guy here. Today I thought I'd go over how I go about laying cut vinyl signs. I'll be doing two quick signs this morning and they're fairly simple, so I thought I'd show you the tools I use and how I go about doing it. So to start off with, because of the table I use, which has got steel under it, I have magnets, my squeegee, tweezers, an X-Acto, 90% isopropyl rubbing alcohol, and a nice clean rag. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm all set up and ready to start peeling. Now, in most cases, in most shops, you would actually tape the ends down, or some people don't. Some people just free peel, but because I have a sheet of super thin steel under this Lexan, I use magnets to hold the vinyl down, very much like people do when they do wraps. This is a very basic 2x2 sign. There's two of them. So actually, I usually peel with a set of tweezers because I can get and grab. Get and grab. There will be a border. I usually like to also, in a lot of cases, actually cut the vinyl to the sign size because it makes laying it a lot easier without a bunch of measurements and extra steps. I like to peel everything in one shot if I can, rather than splitting it up. But if you're dealing with smaller copy, tighter copy, or sticky vinyl, in other words, vinyl doesn't want to peel very easily, you're more than likely going to want to split it up. All right, peel the second one. I tend to peel from the top corner down. And this is peeling very, very nicely. So there you go, there's two signs peeled already. Spread the vinyl back out just to make it a little easier to work on. Now I'm peeling the centers of the letters out. A good habit when you're peeling too is when you peel the outer or background out, don't just ball it right up. Make sure you haven't picked any letters up, because a lot of times you can save them out of the vinyl itself. Now before you get ready to mask, make sure you've gotten all the centers out. In this case I have, so we'll set the tweezers aside. We'll also set the magnets aside, magnets I should say. Now on my table I have a line that coincides with the masking and where the masking will fall. So this way I can just simply line the vinyl up to that line. I get my squeegee in hand and ready. And actually I put it in my pocket just so I'm not using my hands to do too many things at once. I bring it all the way out to the end of the vinyl. Give it a little rub down on the table. Starting from the center, I work my way down and out to the left side, my left first. And as I'm squeegeeing, I'm actually giving it a 45, even down and towards the direction. What this does is it pushes the air out nicely and gives you a good, smooth, very good and smooth contact of the application tape to the actual vinyl. So there you go. That's the masking portion. Now the cutout portion. I'll separate the masking. Now, because I've cut it to border, I can just quickly freehand the border. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect. If I was giving this to a customer as a customer application, I would probably drop a ruler on these edges just to make sure they're good and crisp. But we're applying them here in the shop, so I'm not quite as worried about them. If you're good with the freehand cut, then you could usually cut it freehand and even give it to the customer in that method. All right, now we'll disregard the excess. And there you go. We have now masked two pieces of vinyl to cut out to lay. Now the substrate. In this case, it's a 10 mil coroplast, and you're going to want to take your alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, and give it a light squirt. This will remove any oils or debris from the sign. Nice clean terry cloth rag. Now, one of the things I like to do when I'm applying vinyl is set the sign in the magnets. Again, this is another great reason to have a table that's steel, because I can then box the sign in. It's not moving. It's like having another set of hands holding that sign. At this point, everybody has a little bit different way of doing it, and that is laying the actual vinyl to the sign. What I like to do is I'll make sure the size was cut correctly, and in this case it was. I flip it upside down. Now, there's one of two ways to do this. I'm going to do both. The first way is the fold back method, where you just take about 2-3 inches, 4 inches at the most, fold it back and crease it. I like this method. Some people don't. I like it because it actually keeps the vinyl bowed up from the substrate a little bit. Take it, flip it, line it up, and always keep a hand under that section a little bit. And again, this is why I like to cut it exact. Then what I'll do is I'll just take where my hand is in the middle holding it, I'll stretch it just a hair in the center, and as I go to lay it, I work the vinyl out from the center. This gives me a good contact hinge. Fold this back. Now there's again 2 ways. Some people like to pull this all the way off, and I am one of those people. Disregard the back piece. Sometimes I keep it and I'll put it between signs. And then just, again, the same 45-degree angle. And you can see where these magnets come in really handy, because I'm not struggling. And that's one sign laid. Now carefully, and again, a lot of 45s, at a 45-degree angle, peel your masking off nice and easy. And if done right, you should have relatively few bubbles and no dirt. So there's one down. On the second one, I'm going to lay it the way I've seen other people lay it, and I sometimes like to lay them. Again, we're going to pinch the sign, and I actually have another set of magnets, so I'm going to put one more magnet over here. Clean it. Okay, set that aside. Pick up the magnet you drop. All right, now on this one, once again, and you're seeing me rub these against my body. It's a habit I got into a long ago. Just take some of the debris off the back, keeps it from getting on your sign. No matter how clean you keep your shop, debris finds its way. Now in this case, we're going to do the other method, which is a scissor method, where you actually cut off part of the back of the paper. And a nice sharp pair of scissors is handy here, so that you can just rip through it with the scissors, disregarding the extra pieces. And again, everything's the same from here on out. You just line it up. Once you have it lined, I like to touch the center a little bit. Again, 45 towards the direction of your right, because you're pushing away from the paper. You don't want to push into it. Now we're going to do the halvesies fold. And the reason why a lot of people like to do this, including myself, especially on bigger, longer stretches of vinyl, is that it keeps the ends taut for you, which means you can then work it up to that point. And one of the things I like to do is I'll go ahead, making sure, in this case I got a little peel back, which means the blade's set just a fraction deep, but still pretty good. And just lightly go all the way till it just comes off all on its own. And it's really more of a feel thing than anything. Now we've got this sign laid, and we're going to peel the masking off. here's another sign. So I'm Dave the Sign Guy, and that's how I lay masked vinyl. Thank you.